Of all the things that I planned on getting checked off my social media bucket list, getting absolutely roasted and ratioed by Nadeshot was not originally one of them. But I guess that also comes with the territory. After getting out of the office, I just realized that it is incredibly smoky outside. Had to check social media. Apparently there's Canadian wildfires going on, but I don't know if you can see off in the distance. It looks like it's raining out here, but it's not. It's just odd, very odd. A lot of things happened today, so let me walk you through each individual one and how it led up to Nadeshot roasting the shit out of me. First and foremost, it was officially rumored, or not really announced, we don't fully know yet, that the Call of Duty League is signing an exclusivity deal to YouTube, taking them back there for 2 additional years after it had just recently freed up and they were able to stream on Twitch, which saw increased viewership numbers pretty much all around as Scump retired and started doing watch parties. Zuma and the Flank were doing great watch parties. Like, overall, the community was definitely thriving on Twitch. Now, going back to YouTube, while teams and developers get more money because obviously you're selling media rights and getting something for that to stream exclusively on their platform, you are 100% going to take a hit in terms of viewership and audience reach potential. On top of that, the PGA Tour and LIV announced that they're going to be merging today. So basically, for all of my gamers that don't know sports, basically what happened was a bunch of players left to go to a Saudi Arabian-backed golf league. They were barred from the PGA Tour, they were basically scrutinized by the entire community. People thought they would literally never come back to play any normal sense of golf. Well, then the LIV just announced today that they were merging with the PGA. So now it's the same thing as the Mixer situation. When Shroud and Ninja left, went and streamed on Mixer, promising it was going to be this next big product. It didn't. And then they merged back and they cashed out with a massive bag and just returned to their normal life afterwards. That's literally what happened with the LIV, except the difference is that people that stuck with the PGA Tour vouched for them hard, including Rory McIlroy, who basically said, I would never compromise my principles and go to the LIV. Well, now they're together, all owned by the same group of people. Like, it's LIV and PGA Tour. It's the backpedaling that is going to have to happen from so many people is going to be absolutely absurd. And to be clear, I was not a fan of LIV at all. I don't like what the Saudi regime ultimately is and the morals and principles they have around them. But at the end of the day, money talks, and that's a theme that will come in handy in the next conversation. But now we have to circle back to the Call of Duty League. Early on in the day, while the LIV stuff was going on, I fired off a tweet real quick that basically, if a media rights deal comes along, why would you not take it, assuming the money is at least somewhat decent? You don't want to take it for pennies and not get anything in return for it, but assuming it's decent, that money goes to some of the teams who might be struggling and at least keeps some teams afloat and gives them a lifeline in a world where, yes, a lot of other teams are currently folding. And Nadeshot, yeah.
Oh my God!
I think it's appropriate to put in the
boom, roasted.
But here's the thing. I still don't agree with Nadeshot fully, and I think the reason why is because his incentives are different than what I'm thinking about. Stop for a moment and think about the state of esports. Almost everybody is bleeding money. People are looking to cut costs at absolutely by all measures necessary, including removing academy teams in the LCS, for the Overwatch League and Call of Duty League, removing some of the remaining franchise fee payments that are due, like anything to drop costs. So, in a world where people are looking to save money or get more money, why would you not take the deal? Get the bag, regardless of how big or small it is, so long as you're not screwing yourself. Well, if you're Optic or 100 Thieves or any of these teams where you are big enough to survive the current ongoing winter and you have other incentives that actually align with just simply having more viewership, then yeah, technically it's better for them. Look at Optic. Obviously, being on Twitch for Scump and for Optic and increasing the amount of people watching you and watching the watch parties and donations and paying attention to your sponsors is an amazing thing. Obviously, they're going to benefit from being on both Twitch and YouTube and not signing any sort of exclusivity deal. People really need to watch where they're walking, and I say that as I'm looking into a damn camera. Yet I still have more eyes open than most. Jesus Christ, Midtown. Anyways, for Nadeshot and 100 Thieves, well, their business model is somewhat pivoting over the last few years as they introduce more products on their own that they can sell. High ground keyboards, Juvie, you name it. They've got product now that the more eyes that are on them, the better. Doesn't matter if they get that cash injection of whatever size it is from the league, they want to push their own products and market it. So from Nadeshot's point of view, I get it. Viewership truly is everything. But take a team like the Paris Legion or some of these other, quite frankly, just worse organizations in the Call of Duty League, or even applying this to the LCS like Immortals or TSM at the moment. If you think that they wouldn't take that money that comes from the media rights deal, you're just nuts, because simply put, not everybody can do content. Not everybody can make their own apparel or their own peripheral brands or game or keyboard. Like, there's only so much other products to go around here, and at some point you have to get to that traditional sports revenue pool, which for those that don't know is majority media rights. Almost all of it. You have local media and national media, and then obviously you have like ticket sales, food and beverage and everything else. We don't have any of that currently in esports. None. So if you can still grow viewership while having a media rights deal with a platform that you believe is going to be good long term, then you absolutely do it. Now, does YouTube have problems that it needs to fix? Yeah, not denying that. The discoverability on YouTube is simply not there, at least for live streaming. For shorts, sure. For esports, not there yet. You need to be a well-established product that can survive on your own to be able to make that call in the first place. Now, one area where I vehemently disagree with Nadeshot, and some others pointed out as well, is this constant fallback line that I see from people of, oh, Activision Blizzard or Riot Games are multi-billion-dollar companies. They can afford to take a loss for a few years. Try selling that to any shareholder or investor, and you will get chewed out in a heartbeat. Why? Because each of these departments are looked at independently. When Activision's looking at the Call of Duty League and their finances, they're looking to make it profitable on its own without Big Daddy Activision bailing them out. If a company constantly has to bail somebody out, then quite frankly, there's no point of having it. You might as well cut it. Your marketing dollars could probably be spent elsewhere, maybe better, maybe equal. Like, the amount of loss that esports generates for companies is actually kind of absurd, but again, we still look at it as a marketing tool for now. The scenario where I would entirely agree with Nadeshot is simply if developers were more reliant upon esports to be profitable or to sustain themselves long term. For example, with Riot Games, we talk about a lot. Does esports drive skin sales beyond just the esports skins themselves? And the answer, at least from common perception and those in the industry, is yes. So in that case, you would still want to keep esports despite the loss, and hopefully at some point be able to track how much of your skin revenue is directly coming from esports, and then distribute a portion of that to esports. But then you're also cutting into the bottom line, and that's where things get tricky, and developers don't want to admit that. So yes, from that point of view, the developers are technically in the wrong, but overall, what up? But you can't change that. At the end of the day, they're gonna try and avoid sharing that information at all costs, because then that affects shareholders' bottom line and they ain't gonna be happy. So ultimately, on the Nadeshot point, do I understand his point of view? Yes, I do. I get it. The more eyes, the better in most scenarios, with the exception of the one where everybody's bleeding out and possibly dying. Kind of the scenario that everybody but Optic, 100 Thieves, and others are kind of in right now. And even then, 100 Thieves is kind of in because they had to lay off people as well. And that's coming from a 100 Thieves fan. Believe me, you think I, of all people, want to be roasted by Nadeshot? No, but alas, here we are. Ultimately, I love me a good debate, regardless of who it's with. So to Nadeshot, if for some godforsaken reason he ever sees this video, let's formally talk sometime. Would love to pick your brain about esports and things as a whole, while also kicking your ass on the golf course, because believe me, you might be able to ratio me there, but I will beat you in any game of golf, anywhere, anytime. So yeah. There was one other piece of news today that kind of made waves, and that was Twitch announcing that they were possibly ending burned in ad revenue or ad services, which basically is like that mid-roll ad scene that you see at MSI, at LCS, where it's like Verizon, Grubhub, all of them do their like pre-built ads. All of that would basically be banned. Twitch walked it back since, but it once again stokes up the fire of YouTube versus Twitch long term. And my money will always be on YouTube. I will continue to ride that horse until I die. Did I try live streaming on YouTube and it obviously didn't go well for a year? Yeah, Twitch is still the better platform for gaming and discoverability at the moment. But if you continue to see Twitch make these horrible moves, or even like in this scenario, they walked back everything they said, but the precedent is still there that they're trying it, then yeah, you will slowly start to see creators bleed away. And if YouTube can fix their problems with their live streaming platform, you've got a future there. I'm still not bought in on Kick personally, but you know, competition's always good, regardless of who it is or where it is. So yeah, kind of a walking and talking vlog today rather than something a little bit more pre-planned. Wanted to get my response into Nadeshot since obviously he's gonna win the battle there. But ton of stuff going on in sports and esports today, like a weirdly busy day. So with that in mind, kind of a shorter video, I think. I don't know how this will end up in time. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment. What was the biggest news of the day for you? Was it also the LIV PGA stuff? Because, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's probably bigger than any of the other stuff we're talking about right now. But let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, I'll see you on the podcast tomorrow and then the next video on Saturday. Peace.